Things that I wish I knew in year 11. So if you're in year 10 and you're heading into year 11, or you're in year 11 now, if you're in year 12, then you can still watch this video, but just know that it's a lot harder to change the system you're in once you're already doing it. So for starters, these 2 years for year 11 and year 12 will be the most challenging years of your life, hopefully. The amount of work that you're going to get, or that you're going to have to do, is just beyond probably double what you're doing now, unless you're doing you're probably going to have to work twice as hard than you were in year 10. The first thing I would say to you is that don't look at it like school. Year 10 is completely different to year 11. Think of it like you're doing an arts degree at university. You're doing a degree. It's your own degree. Think of it, you chose the subjects. They're not being forced on you. You have to have the initiative to study the subjects you've chosen. You can no longer rely on your teacher to set you work. You have to do your own work. Look at the syllabus. Know what tests are going to be in the final. Know what type of tests are going to be in the final. Ask people in the years above and ask your teachers, what will the final exam look like, and work there. Don't have this kind of up in the clouds idea, oh, I'll just do the assignments as they come and go. Have a clear, big picture image from the very beginning. There was a study that I'll try and display here that pretty much spoke about how students are often participants, but they're not really independent learners. So I was a participant student, so I would do whatever the teacher would set for homework and I'd attend class, but I wouldn't do any further independent research. This, like I said to you, is your own degree. You have to do your own research based off the syllabus and not what your teacher says. They should overlap, but they don't all the time, and it's really important that you stick to the syllabus. You aim to maximize the syllabus marks, not the teacher's marks in class. Now, a lot of kids are very gifted, and if you're like me, I'm not gifted, so they won't work as nearly as hard as you need to in order to get the same marks that they do. That's really integral, because that pretty much means you have to integrate as much work as you can physically into 2 years. And there are going to be subjects you don't like. Like, everybody has to do English in Australia. Everyone has to do it. And once you go to university, you can do whatever you want at university. You don't have to do... And once you're doing things you really like doing in university, that same work ethic you can apply and just you can kill it. But right now you're stuck with subjects like math, science, and English that you might not like. My advice to people who don't like English, because I know there's a lot of guys out there that don't like English, is to... Before you look at any... Alright, here's what everyone does. You read the Spark Notes before you read the book, if at all. Most people don't even read it. You read the Spark Notes, and then you're kind of disengaged, you're just reading it because you have to, and then you're just doing exactly what the teacher says. There's no deeper thought into... You're copying and pasting what the teacher says. There's no independent thought, so when you get into an exam, and you have to write an essay, you're just copying, pasting essays you've practiced. There's no involvement with the novel or the poem at all. What I would recommend is as soon as you get the prescribed text, read it yourself, have a pencil, and just underline quotes that you like. It doesn't have to have any relevance whatsoever, just underline quotes that you like, and make kind of just after you're done reading, just make a PDF of all these quotes that you really like. And what you'll find is that there will be at least a few of those quotes that you selected that your teacher will also talk about in class. And those quotes will just be bang on. You'll know them. What reading the book yourself without any previous notes allows you to do is form your own opinion about the book. And that way, you have your own opinion, you have the teacher's opinion, and then you can kind of integrate them into a really nicely synthesized foundation for when you write your essays, for when you quote the book on certain things. I read a lot of classic novels now that I don't wish I could study them, because honestly that was but I read a lot of classic novels now that I would like to analyze. However, I would like to analyze with somebody who has a higher education in English than I do, but I just don't really have that option. In school you do, which you should take advantage of. If your teacher set you homework at this stage, just do practice papers, and then if they question, oh, you're not doing enough work, just give them the practice papers to mark, give them the practice essays, give them the questions that you can't do, just give them that. Like, as long as they know you're doing work, they're really not going to be on your case. And if they are, then they're a piece of shit. With foreign languages, I sucked at foreign languages, so I really don't have much good advice, but what I would say is just buy a book that you like. Just buy a book that you like. It can be any book. Buy a book, just read the first 5 pages, highlight all the words you don't know, and then use that as a vocab list on top of the vocab list that you would already have, and then you can just blitz through way more words than you normally would. It just adds on top of all the knowledge you have. Math's pretty straightforward. You can just kind of listen to music and study it. Yeah, look, I wasn't really an expert at school, so I really can't give the best advice, but I know these are just things I wish I had. For sciences, again, your teachers, like if you were a student like me, you'll just rely on the teacher to teach you. Do not do that. What you should do is that look at your syllabus in sciences, look at each syllabus point, know what they want you to know, and every week, just do one of those dot points or one of those syllabus points, and then make sure you do questions on them so that you remember them. Because right now, for example, biology, now that I'm a dental student, I could easily smash a biology exam if I sat it now. However, back then, that's just not the way I did things, and so I didn't do as well in biology. People will say to you, oh, make good notes now so that when you're in year 12, you don't have to go back and remake notes. The problem is that you will just naturally get better at making notes as you progress throughout year 12, and you'll look back on your old notes and know that there's stuff that you need to do. So I wouldn't necessarily make as good as notes as you can, but just know you'll still have to go back and reread them. You will have to go back and reread them. So try and learn as much as you can now, so that when you go back, you can even expand on that further. And finally, I would just like to add, the best moments of high school that you will remember will not be studying. They won't be. Unfortunately, it's going to be hanging out with your mates. It's going to be the time spent in class having fun. Ironically, class time, having fun in class time, is actually the funnest part of high school. You actually want to work outside of school and have school be the time where you actually relax. You already have all the notes in school, so that's the time you actually get to relax and hang out with your friends. I wouldn't suggest, people who used to study in recess and lunch, don't do that. Do not study in recess and lunch. You will burn out so quick. So for people like me who aren't as gifted, you really have to organize your breaks very timely, because what you'll notice in year 11 is that you start to get in a bit of a momentum. So that might mean an essay a week. And that is a lot, like that was a lot for me in year 11 especially. Going from year 10 to year 11, I would not write an essay a week. That was just, and if I did, then I would have to take a break the next week. But yeah, just try and build a momentum when it comes to schoolwork. However, just know that when the holidays roll around, try as hard as possible to keep that momentum going, because once you break for too long, it becomes very hard to then jump back on where you left off, and you just don't want to lose that, and you can't afford to. I would definitely recommend, like I watched a lot of YouTube, and YouTube is really good at keeping you hooked. Just limit YouTube to like 2 hours. Just like, you don't need to watch more than 2 hours of YouTube. You don't. As soon as you know that you've watched more than 2 hours of YouTube, you know you need to stop. I don't care if that means you have to do anything else to relax, or if you've set aside more free time to do other stuff, just don't do YouTube, because you don't need to watch more than 2 hours of YouTube a day, and even I struggle with that. But my final word, however, is that after you graduate and after you hopefully get the uni degree you want, studying will just be completely different, because you'll probably still put in the same amount of work that you are right now for year 11 and 12. However, it's for things that really interest you. So when you do those things, and just they're way more interesting in general. Like really specified subjects in university are so much more interesting than just general school subjects, and that's why I would encourage you to look for those really niche things in your subjects and like learn them. Say for example, if you do geography, learn about sub-Saharan Africa, learn about all those different countries in sub-Saharan Africa that you'd never even heard of before, that nobody else has even heard of. Where's the World Health Organization giving their money to? How do these countries govern politically? What's their economic? You know, what's their, like, are they a communist regime? Are they a far-right capitalist regime? All these stuff, like, you can make your subject really interesting if you just make it niche. You give it a bit of a special kind of pathway. But yeah, once you're in uni and you're studying a specialized content, you'll just do so much better. So just know that you're on the way.